All right. Welcome to episode 33 of pairing with Mike on the Song Themes app. How's it going, Mike?
Good, good. Been a while.
It's been a while.
I
Yes.
think I've been immersed in trying to get my vegetable garden planted. But you know how
Mm,
there's time sensitivity on that front. So,
yes. Yeah.
but I'm psyched
Well,
to get
hey,
it
at
back.
least you're not using GPS related tractors, which were apparently the solar flares that caused the beautiful northern lights also caused major problems for some of those fully or partially automated tractors. They didn't work because they was interfered with the GPS and they wouldn't work without the
Wow.
GPS.
Do they not work at all, or do they just create like weird like crop circles or
They
something?
basically could not use them.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, um, yeah. So yeah, watch out for automation.
Yeah, a friend of a friend actually has a 700-acre farm down uh, near, I guess, Watsonville, broccoli farm, and they use GPS of the tractors to lay the rows out
Yes.
nice
Yep.
and straight. Wild.
Yep. Hello, Astrid. Hello, Sweetie. Um,
Hola.
yes, I Twitch over the years has never gotten that reliability of like notifying you. Um, Sometimes it depends on how you're expecting to be notified. Like I know if I'm on my iPad, if I haven't logged in from the iPad for a while, then it won't send notifications. But this is why I always make sure to do notifications on the Discord. So that I know works, but then you got to make sure Discord is set up to do that. Welcome, Sweetie.
Hey, Sweetie.
And yeah, so alarms are intermittent, which is uh, why I try to both schedule announce it in advance, but also then announce it on the Discord. So join the Discord if you're not already a member. Tag the roles for getting notified about the CodeStream alert because I don't ping everyone. I ping the CodeStream alert. So that's the way to do it. So it has been a while.
We
Last
did leave
time,
breadcrumbs.
yes.
Yeah, keep going. What are you gonna
I
say?
was gonna say, so last time we fixed up some issues with the bulk import in terms of validation. Um, and yes, we did leave ourselves a breadcrumb. So let's take a look at that.
Clearing the
Let me
decks here.
switch to here. There we go.
Cool. I just ran the test. They all passed.
Awesome.
And we've got this 3 greater than symbol breadcrumb.
Right. So we also wanted to eliminate usages of the create column mapper that took a string.
I was wondering why
So,
we had this here, and do we want to just do this, get it out of the way?
uh, yeah, so we had the hetero stuff was part of our previous stuff around error messages. This is part of the refactoring, sort of the post refactoring cleanup.
Mm.
So I remember we wanted to eliminate it because it's only used in tests.
Yeah.
So we wanted to look at what we should be replacing it with. Because we should always use the create that returns a result.
Which is the one, yeah, just the straight up create, not the
Yeah.
one called
Yeah.
create column mapper.
So why don't we do that? Sort of get
Sounds
warmed
good.
up by doing that.
Love it. So let's see, what do the tests look like? I just grabbed the first one.
Yeah.
Are they all in the same class? Let me check.
They're across two separate
2
ones.
classes. Yeah. So what are we doing here? Empty string returned when optional column does not exist.
Yeah.
Optional column does not exist.
Right. So the column. So in this case, the
Ah, the
column
header.
mapper will succeed. So we could just. So one thing we could do is we could just say that this create column mapper that we have in our production code, um, I was thinking, do we want it? I don't think we want nullable. I think we could just put it in uh, as a test helper.
In other words, move this method into a test helper class or into one of these two test classes to own it.
Either way,
But just get it out of production code.
but get it out of production, yeah. But I don't think we want to, because if we call the create directly, then we're just going to have to do what we're doing at the bottom in line 33 and pull out the success. So we may as well. So we'd want to probably wrap that anyway. So I think we should do that.
Sounds good. Let's see if we've got. So 2 tests are in column mapper test and 3 are in TSV parser test. Do we just pick based on number, or do you prefer to make a separate class?
Let's just take a look at the TSV song parser usage. I'm assuming it's pretty much the same. Yeah, it does it even inline. So yeah. I don't have a strong preference.
I don't either, frankly.
So let's see. So let's just make sure. So this one is failure result for row with not enough columns. So here we've got who's the 3 required columns? I forget what our required columns are.
Yes, artist,
Okay.
song, and theme.
Okay. Right. So this has the song only has 2, but the column mapper is fine. Okay.
Oh, interesting. Sorry.
Yeah.
Tangent, but finish your thought.
No, I was just going to say, let's look at the next test. So go
okay.
ahead.
So I vaguely recall, and let me just grab that I think there are some songs that in the spreadsheet don't have artists.
Oh.
So that's going to be interesting. Let's see. Well, no, maybe there is. Usually there's like a thing called blanks. Blanks.
There is blanks, yeah. Well then.
So that's definitely a data entry problem. It was probably like.
I was going to say.
I made a mental note, like remember to figure out who did that song, or this one has multiple artists. Yeah. So never mind.
Okay.
I wanted to, like I said, back in my brain was like, didn't I see?
Right.
Yes. Well, actually, let's this question mark one too. What's that? Oh, Plants vs. Zombie video game music, right? Who is the artist? I have no idea. But maybe we'll just have to do a standard of like, unknown, or something where you don't know the artist.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Are there any other weird ones? Let me just think it's mostly question mark and blanks. And I did use the word unknown. I just noticed that when I was skipping by.
Data normalization.
Unknown. And various. This one's going to be an interesting one. I'm curious about that. And what else we got? Who? So let's see what some of these are. Okay. So this one would need to be broken out. So this is a double CD of poems of Edgar Allan Poe. So all of them count as Halloween.
Right.
I just didn't do the data entry on it.
Right. You just didn't want to put each one in. Yeah.
Same with this, the various songs from this compilation.
Right.
Same with Harry Potter themes. Okay.
Right.
So then the Who probably heard the song, but I haven't figured out who does it. And question mark. Well, we'll figure it out. Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure we weren't boxing ourselves in a bad way, but I think it's a legit approach that we're taking. So,
okay. Yeah, not the Who, but we don't know who. It's not guess who. It's we just don't know. Band names.
Yeah.
So this one is fine. Can we look at the other usages in our TSV song parser test?
successful row with required
Right. So in
column.
fact, that one is the same as the other one, which is create sort of minimal column header or minimal valid column header or column header with required columns or something like that. And the third one I assume is similar, the third usage. Yeah, same thing. So I think what I would do is move the method to the column mapper test and then extract another method for these tests because they're always just creating here's the minimum required column kind of thing.
Got it. So, well, let's do the first one. So that's
Yep.
move this, not rename.
Not
I always get
rename.
those two backwards.
But why? They're so
yeah.
memorable. F6, come on.
And we want to move it to column mapper test.
Yep.
And anything else we need? I don't think so. What's this?
That's it. It's used. Oh, it's just saying it's used by, not that it uses.
Ah, okay, cool. So we just refactor.
Yeah.
And then it'll escalate it to public because there's usages across two classes.
Yeah, it's already public, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, it is. Ah,
yeah.
Okay, so that's been moved over to here. Where to put it? Probably the top. Oh, interesting.
Of course, at the top.
That's where, yeah. Just making sure everything's still working. We're good.
Yep.
And then for the other one, you were saying instead of, do you want to inline this and then extract a larger? What were you saying about?
Yeah, so I think if we inline the header and then extract the entire call into a better named create method. That's what I was thinking.
So is the header the same for all three?
It should be, because that was why I was looking at all of them, because
that's what you were checking.
I was checking to see that they all had basically the same header.
Okay, so in this case, inline them all in to make them all the same.
Although no, because this one has the columns in a different order. And that's, I was thinking, oh, do they all have them in the same order? So let's not do that then.
Okay.
I think let's leave it as is. Actually, there is one thing I want to do, which is, oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Because yes, in the future we're going to be like,
yeah,
oh, let's just inline these all together. They're the same.
Right,
Oh, they're not.
Yeah. I think the first usage in this test class, wherever that first usage was, you won't.
Yeah, I'm just going to search it for you. Easier.
So that was fine.
This one?
Yeah, that one. Let's extract the header like it is in the other test, so that it appears above the song, because that was
exactly
a little hard to read.
Yeah.
So Artist Unknown is a band, of course.
Ah, of course.
And Unknown T is a rapper, all right. And let's move. I don't know if you're going to do move 176 above 173.
Yeah, I was wondering what you thought about that.
Yeah.
That's why I left it.
Yeah, because what I wanted was like sort of simulate, because when we're reading this, what we're saying, what I want to pop out for us is immediately like, oh, the header has 3 columns, the song has 2. This is clearly not a happy scenario.
Right. Yeah. And then here it's 3 and 3.
Yeah, yes, naming is definitely hard, especially for bands. I think I've mentioned this before on this particular stream, but Spotify really annoys me in the way that they don't disambiguate bands with the same name. So what happens is then in like they do this Discovery Weekly where it's like, hey, here's new stuff from artists that you follow. I'll be getting like, what the heck is this? And I'll look at it, it's like, oh no, that's not the Asia that I follow. This is some other band that happens to be called Asia that is nothing like the band that I am in particular want to hear from.
Interesting.
So it's like, that's what unique identifiers are for. These are entities. Why do they not have unique identifiers? What is wrong with you? I don't understand it. Data modeling. All right, I assume all
Discogs has a different problem.
Yeah.
Is that sometimes the same band has multiple entries.
For no apparent reason, or
for no apparent reason.
okay.
Yeah.
Like I could understand, okay, maybe they have different instances because different lineups or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, if it's random, then
you're like, what?
Neither one is good.
No.
But it is interesting. It's like, what is it? Theseus's ship is like, is it still the same band? Like, yes. Is that still the same band? They've like gone through so many changes. It's like, is it really still the same band?
I heard, speaking of, on the radio this morning, the DJ was announcing that the Kingston Trio, very famous folk trio from the 60s, was performing at the UC Theater. And he said, oh, and I don't know who's performing because as far as I know, all three original members of the Kingston Trio no longer are alive.
Right.
So it's like, I don't know who's performing, but they're called the Kingston Trio.
Yeah.
So maybe it's their kids or kids' kids. Who knows?
That's funny. All right. Let's do a commit since we did that cleanup.
Yeah.
And we can check off the JIRA too.
Yeah. Actually, let's go check the JIRA first.
Yes. Right.
Good?
Yep.
Oh, JIRA. There we go. All right, dopamine hit. JIRA 105 completed.
All right.
It's a smaller amount of dopamine than usual, but we'll take it.
Hey, a hit is a hit. So I think this is more about because we literally just saw a test, I think, for 109.
Yes. That was,
which was in the TSV song parser, which was the one we literally just looked at with Skidoo.
Yeah.
I think I remember seeing them play Greenwich Village at some point.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
wow. Yeah, I saw him in San Francisco.
That was a while ago.
By definition.
So this one, is giving us a failure message. I think we want one because I think our goal was we don't want two separate error messages if we're missing. So in other words, if we had the same situation for the header, but the song had just blank entries for artist and theme, that was the scenario. Do we want to write the test and see what it does?
Yeah, I'm actually, where's JIRA? There it is. So you're saying this one's covered basically by the test we're just looking at, even though it's actually missing the theme, but it's still missing one of the three. And then this one is missing two of them.
Right. So the current test we were looking at,
if we cloned it and then
is Green Eyes the song title or the theme?
Song title.
Okay. Do we want to put a /T at the end to indicate that it's sort of blank on purpose?
Want to see what happens when we do that?
Yeah, I wonder if that's what we're checking for, or if we're just checking that there's not enough columns, because those are two different things.
Yep.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So then this test does not cover the situation that we're talking about. This is literally, there's not enough columns, which is what the test name says, so that's good.
Right.
But this
So what I mean is
situation, okay. So I thought
the
we covered
situation's
this,
more
but we didn't.
realistic. Yeah.
And this
The
is more
situation's
realistic.
more likely to happen
Right. Because
than
you're gonna copy a rectangle. So yeah.
yeah.
All right. So let's
Should we
undo that, because that test I think is useful, but not what we need to check.
So just clone this one and then modify it to do the failing test we just had.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's see, is this success for row is okay? Probably an okay place for this. Now the name is failure results for row, no, for empty required cell, not column.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Is that right? Failure results for empty required cell.
Yep.
Boy, that's a subtle one. Well, let's get it to fail and then work and then figure out how to make it a little bit more jumping out as to the distinction. You know what I mean? From a browsability,
Yeah, I'm wondering
scannability. It's
I'm
like,
wondering if you want to drop the song title instead here and put in a theme.
oh, that's a good idea. That's better. Yeah. So
And what would be a theme for that besides green eyes? Because that would be confusing.
no, it was the theme for that one is cats. Just to grab real data. So like
Right.
that.
Yep.
So now it should still fail with a slightly different error message.
Yes.
Yeah, let's see what it does.
Because the number of columns match. Okay.
Oh,
So that is fine.
interesting. So actually, I want to go back and so different failure result for which one it is.
Well, that's bad.
Yes. Succeeded but should have failed. Is failure.
Yeah, it should have failed. I wonder if how could that have succeeded? Did we not have validation for theme?
So we did. We had artist and song title and then theme. Oh, I'll have to go look at the code, I guess. The validation's in column mapper, right? Oh, that's column mapper test.
Yeah, so this validation would be in the extract column. So are we not passing along the failure result for that?
Yeah, let's go see. Contains a column.
Well, here we're not checking, and I think I remember this. We're not actually checking to see if the contents of the required column are empty, which I think is why we created those JIRAs, because we actually are not. Why don't you create the situation that we're currently in?
Yeah, I know. I was just going to say.
So can we look at?
But
we did get a failure message if song title was empty.
Right.
So I wonder if so the caller to extract column. Because that's just checking that the column is there. It's later in the process, or the caller to extract column for theme, are we looking at oh, we are looking at theme result 1.
Artist, song title.
Oh, but can we
But
go back
this is,
to
yeah, sorry, go back where?
extract column? But if the column's there, we're not actually. So the only time this fails is if the column's not there, and it should be. Right. So we're not checking for required columns being non-blank. That's what we're not checking for.
Right.
What's interesting though is when we had blank for song title, it was saying missing a required column,
I want to
which was
rerun that
weird.
test.
Yeah, I'm like, what?
Yeah, it was this one.
These
These
attributes were
attributes are
blank.
blank. Song title.
Oh, so we were I think in our parser we are checking for blank, but not for everything. Oh, look at where that exception is. Look at what's happening. So I think what's confusing us that I just realized, and this is where it's like read the output closely.
Message, the error message.
This is an exception. Being thrown by song. So this is not even validate. This is not validation.
Oh. Ah.
Now why and we're also not checking. I mean, this tells us that we're not doing an exception check for themes. That's a separate issue that we might want to.
Yeah, we're checking
Because
for
we check for
artists.
artists, we check for.
Oh.
We do check for any match. Does that not work the way we expect it?
Oh, wait a second. Theme. Oh, no, never mind.
No, that adds it to the list of invalid attributes.
Right. And then
well, that's interesting. I thought we had a test. Do we have a test for that?
get 3.
Well, do they do?
Right. We'll find out.
So we got
Artist should not be empty nor blank. Song title should be empty.
wait,
Nor
hold on a
blank.
second. The on line 11 is wrong. It says requested theme on line 11. I assume that should be an artist. Yeah. So let's fix that. And then let's scroll down.
Where's the theme one?
We don't have one. We've got artist.
Is
We've
this
got
definitely
song
artist?
title.
Yeah.
Artist. Song title. And then what's the last one?
Artist.
That they're all. That's interesting. So that test passes?
Well, it's checking. Want me to run it?
I mean, I'm asking it rhetorically because of course it passes, but it's like,
Yeah.
that's interesting that that test passes. So we don't have a test specifically for theme 1 being blank. So let's write that test because I'm a little perplexed. And Imazrin says to hydrate, so I will hydrate. Thank you. I'm going to caffeinate. And while you do that, I'm gonna Bioverse, how do people code for more than 5+ hours a day? We don't. If you're actively coding, I don't think there's any way you can do much more than 4, maybe 5. Uh, if you're ensembling. If you're solo coding, I mean, yeah, some people can do that. I don't know. I can't do that anymore.
Oh, no, it's not a string. My bad.
Yeah, I was just about to say fix that. Yeah. And then 33. So yeah, I mean, this should pass. So let's go take a look.
Well, the cursor has to be in the right window when I press Shift F10.
Yeah.
Yeah, picky. It
So
passed.
it passed. Okay. Well, that's good, I guess.
Let's make sure we wrote it right. Just double checking.
So now I'm wondering if there's a parser issue about removing trailing entries. So I think let's commit this because we fixed this up and we added a test that really clarified that themes should explicitly not be blank.
Added. Well, actually, let me.
I wouldn't bother with the fix. I would just say what the major changes.
Added
explicit test for empty for blank theme.
And then what did we do? This was us just.
I wouldn't commit that one.
Yeah, let's not commit that one.
Yeah.
That's how I was checking it.
Yeah.
Okay. Letting that rip.
All right. So now we've checked that it should throw an exception. So it does throw an exception for song title, so that's good. So let's switch the test back to
the other failure mode.
To the other failure mode, yeah. So what I'm wondering here is it a mismatch now on columns because it thinks there's 2 columns. So can we drop 197 or just change contains exactly to an empty string?
Sure.
Because with the theory that it's dropping off completely the last entry, it thinks that there's only 2 columns of data. That's my theory. So let's see what happens.
Okay.
Well, now I am confused.
Can I do a quick test? What if we put a space here? So now it
So
thinks it's
so so
blank,
that matches.
the other one.
So can you, uh but how could it be a valid song if there's no theme? Can we do an assertion on the song that we get? So remove the space there. The test is saying that it's succeeding when it should fail. So before we do that, can we assert, um so we'll have to do result dot. Oh, actually, no, we can just apply to result and then say, in there, we can say, um, where, I'm not seeing the autocomplete I expect.
Ah, what are you expecting? I could start typing it.
Can you scroll the options? Yeah, so we want is success or success values. Yeah, and uh, then that contains exactly. Um, just do new song.
Like
No,
that?
no, that's expecting a song object, right? You see that on 196, the collection is sort of song. So that's telling us we're now
Ah,
getting songs out of it, right? That's what
oh,
we expect if it succeeds.
right.
So let's just create you know, uh, fill in all the values just with 1, 2, 3, or whatever. The values don't matter. You'll need one more string before the
Oh,
list.
right.
So this will clearly not work, but it'll give us some information as to why it thinks it succeeded. So the themes is empty, which is concerning. Hey there, Nico Chen. We are working on JDK. I think we're on 22. We are using text blocks where appropriate. Unless there was something specific you were asking about. So, so this is really interesting. I wonder. So, what do you think we should do?
I'm trying to figure out what to do without going to the debugger to see what's happening.
Well, I mean, you know,
It might be the time to do it, but
it might be, but I like to theorize a bit. Um, so we noticed that when we put a space there, then we got the expected you can't have a blank theme. My theory is that there is no theme. So we get back from when we parse the columns, we get back nothing because there's no column there. Um, can we look at the TSV song parser parse song?
all right, this is that big method.
So we currently we got a success on line 55. When we extract themes, can we look at extract themes? Because I have a suspicion that that's returning an empty list. Yeah. So this is a side effect of us filtering out blank entries and not adding them. So my theory is that song allows us to pass in an empty list, and and song is okay with that when it shouldn't be. Because we validate, hey, are any of the themes blank? That's not allowed. But we never enforce, do you have at least one theme in the list? So let's, as Ali says, it's like, okay, now we have a theory. Let's test that theory. And this is why, like, going through the debugger, we might have been able to even find it quicker. But I feel like it doesn't help us form theories and around and then write tests for things that are wrong.
Right. Plus, the more you practice working in that way rather than reaching to the familiar debugger,
Yeah.
the better you get at the
because this exactly, and it's very easy. I think what happens sometimes is jumping to the debugger means you're not learning about the code base in a way that I think is as useful. This is just my subjective feeling about it, but from a cognitive load theory point of view, when you go into the debugger, there's so much going on. What cognitive load theory says, or at least suggests, is that if there's a lot going on just to figure out something, you may not actually learn anything in your long-term memory because it's so full of just trying to process what you're doing.
Yeah.
So let's write a test directly against song where it should be invalid if the song is empty. And just looking at the code, it's like, that's clearly the problem. So song test.
Where is it?
What did you do?
Stop. I just searched for test.
No, don't search. Control Shift T.
Control Shift T. I know. I was actually just curious to see how many tests there were, but yeah.
The problem is looking for
a big list like that. It's too much.
Well, looking for references to that is not just the constructor. It's everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is what we've got.
So we don't have a test for this specific scenario. So let's go write a new test. We probably do want to throw the same exception, so it's going to be very similar, but it's not going to be parameterized.
Right. I heard the doorbell. Let me just make sure it's nothing important.
Yeah, for me, it's about what do I sort of want to, am I trying to figure out and troubleshoot my code, or am I trying to sort of troubleshoot somebody else's code, like the framework or a library or something? Then I'm happy to drop into the debugger, especially if I'm trying to figure out sort of data flow or call flow. But I do believe it is a crutch. I do believe it is if you jump too quickly into it. Honestly, I think you still have to have a theory. Even if you go into a debugger, you have to have something that you're focusing on. You can't just look at everything. It's because it's just overwhelming. There's just too much going on. So even if you go through the debugger, because maybe it's deep inside and maybe your code isn't amenable to testing like this code, I still think you've got to have a theory to guide your debugging. Yeah. All right. So I think this is just theme list should not be empty. I'm not sure if you're muted or not. Okay.
I was, yes.
Okay. I wasn't sure if you said anything or if you were just.
I did, but
Okay.
theme list is empty. Is that what you said?
Well, we're testing the negative case, which is theme list should not be empty.
Right.
And otherwise, I think it's going to be the same as the test on 31 with just a different list of.
I get some extra lines there I didn't notice before.
Yeah, bonus extra lines. It's like, hey, we're consistent. Probably because we did exactly what you just did, which is a copy paste into an empty method. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we're going to change it to should not be empty. So list of creates.
Well, I think we should just put an empty list here. You're going to want to not do it selected that way. No.
Ah.
Yep. Lowercase e, otherwise it's not going to get the auto completion.
The right one. Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, because it's preferring method names. Keep going.
Empty list.
Yeah,
there we
one.
go.
Yep. Sooner or later it'll get it.
Yeah, eventually.
Do we like that error message?
No.
I guess essentially they were blank. So I think that's good enough. If we had
want to say empty list, theme list is empty.
Sure, that's probably more precise. Yeah. And I might. Yeah, that's fine.
What are we gonna? Okay.
No, I was going to suggest something else, but I think that's fine because there's enough context because it's going to be an exception. So we expect this to fail because no exception is thrown.
Right.
But let's look at the right test. Yep. So fails exactly as predicted. And now we just have to make it work. That's the easy part.
Yeah, just song. So where would we put this? Oh, because we're accumulating errors.
Right.
Or is this one? No, I guess we'd still accumulate. Or is this one so egregious that it's just the one and that's it? No, I guess
I mean, given what we stated in our expectation, this would be a separate check.
So fail and bail up here then?
I think so, yeah. Hey, autocomplete full line completion was successful.
And did we specify what?
Hey there, Gopher Crowd.
Type of exception we?
Yeah, it was still a missing attribute exception.
Oh, it's song test. Sorry, let's move this back up here where it's supposed to be. Okay, same. And should we just put a blank text for now and then characterize it?
Or well, we already stated our expectation, so we know what it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah. We could have done it at multiple steps, but I am totally fine with taking bigger steps because we know exactly how it's going to work.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Run it. Should pass. Ooh, did not.
So notice that now throws an exception as we
Right.
kind of would like it to.
Right.
This one now is interesting.
Oh, this is another
'Cause
test
this
failed,
is the
not
other
our.
test for, um
Is this why you're thinking maybe we should continue with the cumulative approach? And
No, this is exactly what we want.
okay.
Right? So our song tests are now all passing. These are now the test we had before that was failing, where we were confused. But now we also caused a different test, the song importer test, to fail. So that's why we have 2 failing tests. So I
What
think
do you want?
uh, so we should look at so the parse single song we know we had to fix, right? That was the test we were writing that got us on this journey. So this one tells us that as a last resort, the song object itself said, you didn't give me good data, so I'm going to blow up.
Right.
What we do want is we want that to fail with a failure message, and that's that we need to change that behavior. We're not currently checking for that. But I'm curious what the song import is doing, because that's not right. That's a problem.
Theme does not look empty to me. Oh, wait a second. No, it's got one theme. Artist, song, release title, type. Wait a second. Are we missed in number of columns? 1, 2, 3, 4.
So I think IntelliJ will let you edit that as something else. Can you right click on it? Can you say open in?
Oh, there it is.
Oh, that won't help.
You were thinking we have like a table view or something?
Yeah. I know they have something like that for CSV files. I don't know if they have it for TSV files. But yeah, so are we sure we've got
Well, how about another approach? Does it break it? No.
well, you can ask it to. I believe if you
When I do the paste
uh
special. No.
no, it's under if you paste it and then you say data. I think that might be it.
It implies it's going to a database to get it. So yeah.
Oh, that's an import data. There's where is it? Text to columns, that's what it is. And it's delimited. So go to next. Next. And here's where you say tab. Yep. Next. In general, finish. Why didn't that do it?
That was weird.
Can you select just the 2 cells? No, just select the 2 cells.
Just those 2.
Yeah. So delimited. Wait, go back.
Oh, I'll just do it again since that didn't do anything. Limited.
Yeah. Oh, because those aren't real tabs. So let's change it to let's change the limiter to other. No, you can still do it.
I'll go back. Yeah.
Yeah, delimited. Change it to other and puts \t.
It only allows one character.
That's going to be good enough.
Slash is good enough?
Yeah.
Oh, right, because we don't care.
We don't care about the data. We just care about the number
Yep.
of columns and does stuff line up.
Yeah.
So it looks like it doesn't line up.
That's what
our theme one is wrong. We've got notes. We're missing record label, and so skip notes is under the wrong column.
Right. So we need something here.
Yeah.
Before skip notes.
Before skip notes. Yeah.
Yeah. It did seem like when I was doing trying to line it up manually, I was like, something's missing here.
Yeah.
I think it's record label. So
we want record label there. Yeah.
Okay, so now let's rerun it.
Now let's rerun it. That should pass, and we should have the one remaining test failing, which is the one we're changing behavior on.
And then we're at the 1 hour point anyway.
Yeah, and it'll be a good time for a break. Perfect. Awesome. Let's ship it, or at least commit, and then we'll take our break. Hateful Nuffle, do it to attitude. Yeah, I was looking. It's funny. It's like because the ribbons are customizable, it's not always obvious where it is. Yeah.
I'm just seeing exactly what we did. So we got
yeah.
So we fixed a test we didn't know was broken.
Right.
And
now we explicitly check for it. For the main thing is explicitly check for empty list, empty theme list. I'm out of coffee. Oh, you met Arlo Belshi. Where'd you meet him?
Cool.
Yes, after our break, we'll make it pass for the right reason.
Arlo's a gas. I like Arlo.
Oh, that must have been MenderCon. Yeah, I couldn't make that.
Good enough for commit message?
Yeah. Do you want TSV song parser test committed as well, or do we said that we're still in progress? We don't want to do that.
I think that was still in. Yes, that's still in progress.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Hey there, singularitarian.
Singularitarian. Hello. Okay, break time.
All right. Yep. So we'll take a break. We'll take our coffee break, and when we come back, we will finally now that we've dug ourselves out of this little hole that we're in, which is great. And this is again why it's so important. I think that objects protect themselves from being in an invalid state, because song wasn't doing its job. It wasn't protecting itself against a case that we obviously hadn't thought of. So when we come back, we'll pop that stack and get back to where we were. So enjoy the coffee break. So just a little commercial message, as it were. You may be familiar with my TDD game, or perhaps not. One of the things the game promotes is this idea of predictive, being very precise about our predictions. So this, what you see us do here on stream, as well as what I do on my solo stream, making that prediction really precise helps us determine whether we understand the code, as well as telling us whether the test is working properly. So this game, if you go to tdd.cards, you can see a video here about where I talk about sort of more about the predictive test-driven development process, and then I walk through the game. So currently, it's a physical board game. You can play it, and you can get it, and you can play with folks. Great fodder for discussing the benefits of TDD and as well as how it works. But I'm also working on an online version, and that's what I'm doing on my solo stream. And so this is sort of a mock-up of what it'll look like. And so if you buy the physical game, you'll get early access to the online version. So go ahead and check it out and get a copy. And apparently it's brilliant. Every time I watch people play this, so I've done it at several conferences now. Everybody always has fun and has good conversations about, what is TDD, what is the predictive aspect. And one of the things I find it great about games is it's sort of a low stakes, low anxiety environment, because it's fun, but also you have opportunities to discuss things that maybe would seem sort of boring in other contexts. And let's see. Yeah, so that's the link, tdd.cards. I also have special offers for that if you want some coaching along with it. So I will facilitate a game or two, as well as run through the process itself, and so provide sort of copies of the game as well as some coaching built in. So just you can contact me. Go to ted@tedmyoung.com. That's my email address. Hit me up. Happy to talk about the possibilities there. And you may know that also that I facilitate a weekly book club. So what we do is we take a book, we read it about chapter by chapter, and spend 2 hours on Sunday talking about what we've read, discussing it, clarifying things, uh, trying to get a better understanding of it. And we're basically just about to finish The Programmer's Brain, which is the book we've been reading through for the past few months. And so that means we're about to decide on the next book. You can help guide the selection of our next book. In the Discord, we have a channel called the Book Club channel, and there's a thread going on for not just suggesting books, but also sort of indicating um, why you think it's a book that would be interesting for others. So there's been some suggestions already. We'll probably go to starting sort of the voting process in a couple of weeks, and I expect the new book that will start the new book probably sometime early to mid June is sort of my guesstimate at this point, based on probably have a couple more weeks of discussion. Then we'll probably take a week off, and then we'll give time for people to vote on, and then actually obtain, and then actually read the beginning of our next book. I can guesstimate, but no estimates. Estimates are useful. So one thing that Woody'sville talks has been talking about a lot recently is sort of not no estimates, but sort of beyond estimates. And I'm always in favor of basically what are you using these estimates for? What is the purpose of them? Because while generally I'm against sort of committing to we will finish X features in Y amount of time because that's very difficult. Uh, More than happy though to say, can we fit this thing in by this time in some way, shape, or form and get a sense for it? So I think there's a lot of it depends what you're using those estimates for. All right.
Trying to see what I missed. Just looking at the chat window. No estimates. You talked about no estimates. Oh my.
Oh, I was just saying because I was guesstimating about how many weeks of our book club we have left before we start our new book,
Mm.
and so I guesstimated that we have 2 sessions left. Yeah, this is common. It's like what business wants and what we think they want are often two different things, and so words like estimate, it's like, what do you mean? What do you need them for? How are you going to use them? I think how are you going to use this information is the most important question to ask when you're asked for estimates. Like, okay, why? And not in kind of an obnoxious way, right? In a very collaborative, let me give you the information that will actually be useful for you. Um, and some of that information be like, we can't tell you that. Why, and you might have to dig a bit deeper because there is a long history of asking for estimates and it being used as deadlines, and then business getting frustrated when you miss the deadline. It's like, you didn't tell us you were using it as a deadline. Or the usual, what date do you have in mind? So let's talk about that, because usually, because that's pretty frequent, is like, you've got a date in mind, business. What is it? Why is it? Let's talk about what we can do to meet your needs. Because this is not the game of find me a rock. No, not that rock. No, not that rock either. It's like if you're looking for an estimate to fit a deadline that you've already got in mind, just tell me what the deadline is.
Yeah. And then we'll figure out how to defeature it to meet the deadline.
Yeah. We'll say this
one of the most
we're
important things.
right.
Yeah.
Right. It's like this we're highly confident in, this we're not so confident in, and this we have no clue. Yeah, exactly. We often estimate based on how much we think we know about it and how difficult we think it is, and they just want to know when is it going to be done. Yeah, we just committed. It's like, okay, you've committed to date and scope. You realize that quality is what's going to suffer, whether you like it or not.
Yep.
The
You
infamous
delivered on time all the
right.
features. Oh, you wanted the features to work.
Oh, you wanted them to work? You didn't say that. Oh, you wanted us to be able to then add more features after that? You didn't say that. Yeah, if either before or after that deadline, everything will suffer. Yeah, that I just don't put up with. I'm like, I'm sorry, no. By the way, developers, you can say no. You don't have to say yes. We are not order takers. Insist on being collaborators, not order takers. I know that's such a revolutionary, as in not as in fostering a revolution idea. All right, but back to more manageable, fine-grained things that we don't need to estimate. So we now have an exception being thrown instead of a validation failure message. So now we're in a good place because now at least we understand what's going on. Did we want to do a refactor of the song constructor.
Yeah, let's go back to it. Oh, here it is.
I mean, typically I'd extract the number 8 as a requires, but I feel like the entire thing is validation, so I'm more than happy to just leave it.
I'm also like, why do we not have a blank line after 16, but we do in the other one? Minor, but
No, and
was
fix it.
there yeah, I would do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Yeah, in a way, all of it is requires, but the first one is literally a bail though, whereas this one is I guess this is a second requires.
Yeah, I mean it's
That way.
basically it's all just two different requires, but I'm fine with it being one thing.
Cool.
All right.
Okay, so we were looking at this test.
Yeah. So Java does not have validation headers. Various libraries, such as the Bean validation library, which is included as part of Spring Boot, does have that, but they're way overkill for something like this. Plus, you end up getting a lot of messages, and you have to explicitly validate it. Doesn't throw an exception. So again, this is so. Again, the purpose of this requires like validation that Song is doing is basically it's a last ditch effort to say something is wrong, right? Because as we've seen, if you don't protect your domain objects from being in an invalid state, then you will get higher up. You will get, observe problems at a higher level and then be confused as to what's going on, which is literally what happened to us today. If we'd had this validation in up front, it would have been a lot more clear what's going on. And so that if you use something like a validation library, that means you still have to remember to call the validation library. But this isn't validation in the same way as what the result stuff is doing. And again, that's the difference between exceptions and validation. Validation is we want to report back as messages. Exceptions are basically saying we're in trouble and there's nothing we can do about it.
Speaking of, so would you consider at the calling of parse song level, should that result in an exception to this level, or or is it at this level going to be is failure is going to actually be true?
Right. So what we want is at this level, it's validation. And so we don't want the exception. The exception means that we're missing a validation.
Right. So we're going to have to catch it in probably parse song, I presume.
Well,
not sure.
We don't want to catch the exception, right? The exception means you've done something wrong and you didn't prevent the exception from being thrown. Catching the exception means so in this case, we could have prevented it, but we didn't. So we want to do just like we've done for others is actually prevent it. So what I think we should do is take out that first assert because we actually want it to fail.
That was an experiment. Yep.
Yeah.
Or experiment debugging-ish kind of. Now run this one.
Yeah, and so this will fail because it's not failing. Right. Because an exception is being thrown because we didn't do the validation check for that.
Right.
So Full Novel asks, what if a new column is added? This code will break. Yep. We have not generalized this code, right? YAGNI applies. If and when that happens, then we would decide, do we just add that column? So let's say, release title became required. At that point, we would address that and modify the code as appropriate. And if we at that point saw hey, we're going to be wanting to import all sorts of different kinds of data where things are going to be different and so on, then we might look to generalize things. But it's already fairly general. Like we have one place to change the required column list, and the validation is a little bit tricky here on the themes, and we could generalize it, but very much you ain't gonna need it applies. Don't overgeneralize code. Yeah, event-driven architecture is problematic from like traceability of code flow, and that's the downside of event-driven is that you have no idea how you got here, um, and it's a problem. Um, and this is where you're almost treating it like you've got different parts of the system, and you have to have some correlation ID, like to trace back the request because it's not a method call to a method call to a method call. All right, so we'd like to make this test pass. So we'd like to get a failure result for
An empty list.
for where there's no theme. Yeah.
Empty list theme or no theme? I guess is no
They're
theme
the
the same as
same
zero?
thing
Okay.
because we treat themes differently than everything else.
So for these columns, we're doing extract column. For theme 1,
So can I suggest something?
sure.
I think by starting with theme, we're starting with the hardest one. Because theme has this weird thing of like you can have one theme or multiple themes, and some of them can be
Right.
blank, and it'll skip over the blanks, and so that's more complicated. Did we verify that, for example, having a blank song title gives us a failure? Because this test is pretty generic sounding. It just says empty required cell, but I think we need to be more specific.
Right. Do you think run an experiment with this one or create a new test with that experiment where it's an empty cell?
I think we should just change this test to be failure result for
Empty theme?
empty. Yeah, change this one to empty theme, and then we'll create another one, and we'll disable this one, and then we'll create another one for an empty song title. I think we could just say, do this one after other empty cells.
So then we would basically just create a new test.
Yeah.
Guess we do it right before. What's the not enough columns? So we can just put it in here. Trying to see what our naming pattern was. Failure result for empty. Do you want to go in quote order? So artist first, then song title, then theme?
Sure. Why don't we say empty required artist, just to make it clear that it's required.
Yeah, good point.
Let's use the word cell to sort of reinforce that language.
Yeah, do we not do that? What do we use here? Columns.
Well, here it is because it wasn't enough columns, and here it's now
A cell.
now we're because this is what the JIRA is about, is testing empty cells.
Right. I'm just wondering, do we have another one that needs to be changed to cell?
No, because I don't think we have any tests that are
that.
doing that.
Mike, yeah, okay. Cool. Just wanted to double check. So this is very similar. So I could do some stealing.
Yep. So we
So if
think,
we ran this, yeah, sorry.
I was going to say, so what's our prediction?
Yeah. I can't remember if we have code that checks for this or not. I thought we
Nope.
did.
No, we don't
We
have
don't.
validation code. So I believe this will throw the exception at when we try to create the song.
Okay.
So we'll get a missing attribute exception. Yep. Missing song attribute. So we don't want that. We would like to validate that before we actually try to create the song.
Where do we create the song in here? It's toward the end. Wait, oh, there it is. So here we're checking for success, but we're not checking for empty.
Well, so on line 50, we're clearly getting a success result. And so the question is, should we?
Oh, so extract column.
Right, so we're saying extract column for a required column. We're not checking anything about required column other than the entire column was missing.
Right, and we don't, extract
But the,
column doesn't even have the concept of required. That's currently, is that even checked? We got valid columns match.
yeah, so column mapper is the one that has the knowledge of that, right? Because we do check that. So if you go back to song parser, right, that's what we're, and then you go to, sorry, if you go to the column mapper extract column, it knows
Required
about the
column
required columns. Because we said that that's part of column mapper's
role.
what the knowledge that it has.
So we're checking that the header contains it, but
Right. So this situation is the header's there, but this cell is empty. So previously we've been checking for the entire column is missing, but now we're checking for the column is there, but this cell is empty.
But this cell's empty. So really in here, we have to say, header column contains column name. So that means it does contain it. We get the column string. So we should only be doing success if the string is not empty.
Right.
Yeah. I hate nesting if statements.
Well, make it work and then make it nice.
Yeah. We want,
I think we want blank.
blank is the meta one, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
the larger of the two.
Yeah.
Ugh, didn't mean to
So you can
jump
just
over
hit
it.
Control Q.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do. I just clicked the wrong thing. Right. Okay. Guess we would just use the same because we're expecting that, aren't we?
Well, what is our test saying? Not that test. Right now, we're just really checking for that there's a failure message. We have not been precise about what that message should be.
Right. We haven't decided on that yet. So for now, just go with
Well, whatever it takes to
something.
get the test. How could you get the test to pass? Well, not that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. That's all the test is asking for. We're not going to give the test. We're not going to do anything
Extra, of course.
they say you don't want to ski and lean too far in front of your skis.
Yeah.
Whatever the saying.
Get
is.
over your skis.
Yeah, I haven't skied in a while. Hey there, Jonas. Welcome.
Oh, we broke all kinds of stuff this night.
That is unsurprising.
Yeah.
Because there's another requirement, right? It's not, we don't want to fail if it's empty. We don't always want to fail if it's empty.
Yeah, it's only if it's a required column.
Yeah.
It contains any?
No. We want to ask the column mapper. The column mapper knows whether this column is required or not.
Is there a?
We already have a method.
We do. Okay. Now we got is optional column.
And if we don't like it, we can create another one.
Got it. So we could do is bang or the opposite. Well, let's start with that and then we'll extract it into its own.
Yep.
Actually, what we could do is this. Extract that and say is required.
Yeah, that's fine too. We'd end up in the same place.
Yeah. I did not like that. I probably hit the wrong one. Oh, it's Alt. Now we can go back here. Oh, no, not column name.
No, it is column name.
Let me see the. Right.
Do we want to rename the variable column to a cell?
Yes.
Because technically that's not referring to the column, that is referring to the cell.
Yeah.
As our ubiquitous language grows, we have to update our code to match it.
Yeah. Run it.
Yeah, let's run it. Look at that.
Wow. I do like this.
Yeah, I wish it would actually display like disabled test : or something like that.
Yeah. And the name of the test.
And yeah, with the name of the test. Yeah. All right. So let's commit and then we can look at refactoring this mess. Or we could write the other test and then look at refactoring.
Commit now either way is what you're saying.
Tests are passing, so we commit. Might want to do
It's because we intentionally not clicked this earlier. Is that what you were wondering about?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, the Control K thing, because we had previously unselected it, it looks like it learned.
Oh, that's interesting. That's not the behavior I remember. But anyway, we want to commit that though. So if you uncheck that and go into the code and then hit Control K. Oh, okay. I guess it does learn. Okay. I guess I just don't do that enough to remember what the
Have
behavior is.
noticed, yeah. Oh,
Yeah, that was just spacing. So that's not actually what we did.
no.
That's the implementation details. Right.
Okay,
So I
from a technical
noticed.
perspective.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
noticed you looked at the code to figure out what we did, and I think it's much better to look at what was the test that we wrote that is now passing.
Ah, good idea.
So it's empty cell now fails validation.
But is it for all? We've only tested for artists.
True. Then that's all we should say.
Yeah. Well, I guess we
don't know anything else.
theme.
We can
Also,
no, but that test is not passing.
oh, that one's still failing.
It may end up
Oh, it's
passing,
disabled.
but it's
Oh, it's
disabled.
disabled.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry, brain fart. Okay, so
I mean, you could literally say we now get and then the name of the test.
that's a good idea. Yeah.
And that's why I really like paying attention to the test, because it helps us focus on what is the functionality, what is the feature we want, as opposed to, yes, we happen to implement it in a specific way.
Right. Copacetic?
Yep.
Now we tackle with a disabled test.
Well, so
Actually,
there's two things. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say probably some refactoring first.
I would not refactor at this point, because even though I believe we actually have generalized the code, we don't have tests that prove that. So I don't like to and I've been talking about this on my Mastodon and elsewhere, that I don't refactor at every single TDD cycle. Even though it says red green refactor, I'm not refactoring every single cycle. But there are points where I feel like I've covered a few scenarios around some functionality, and then I look for refactoring, because then it's likely that the code has either been generalized or needs help generalizing.
Yeah, good point.
But I think before that, we currently don't define what the failure message should be, and we should do that.
True. Yeah.
So what do we want it to say?
I'm just gonna write something and then wordsmith it. Maybe something like song requires an artist.
Well, what was wrong with must? I think must is a simpler sounding word than
requires.
artist. I might say must have a non-blank artist. And then I might uppercase artist. And what we've been doing with other failure messages, so we can use that to inform what this one looks like. I think we've also been displaying what we actually got.
Right. For the whole song, we're doing the entire.
Yeah, so I think if we display something like that, yeah.
Where are we?
Down.
Period contains. Let me get the exact phrasing we used before.
Yeah, row contains.
Row contains. I'll take it even though it's wrong. So this one should be, oh, just nothing.
Yeah, I don't know what it's going to I guess it will display nothing. Yeah. Which may not be what we want, but it's what we're going to get easily.
Yeah. What do you think? Run it. See what we get.
Well, we're going to get a failure because we're
Right.
returning an empty string. So
yeah,
that's the easy prediction.
Oh yeah, I should check the. Yes.
All right, so let's make it pass.
Well, I'm just gonna pull this over for a second.
I always say lie, cheat, steal.
I could get this to make it pass, and then have it get the variables.
And it might seem to those watching, it might be like, well, what was the point of that? When your code is complex, you might not be changing the code you think is going to be affecting the outcome. So it's certainly possible that we changed a string in some other result failure. Like we could have been changing line 44 thinking that did what we wanted. And so by doing this copy and paste, it means that we're changing the right thing. Without doing a lot of thought and without writing more code than we need to. And so that's why I often do this. And then we can basically now replace it with sort of dynamic code that should be the same thing. Wrong place. You got the formatted in the wrong place.
Right.
Which does lead me to believe that perhaps we want our failure to do this for us. But that's, I think, a generalization that we can talk about. Yeah, so we get to green as quickly as possible. And one might say didn't take us all that long to do the formatted. But if we had done this and it turned out to be in the wrong place, we might have written the code for nothing. But getting to green as quickly as possible is always a good recommendation.
Okay.
All right. And then it allows us to basically test, are we doing the formatted correctly? Are we using the toString correctly? And we are.
Yeah, I was wondering if the toString, we were unsure whether it would do.
Right, whether there'd be
comma,
yeah.
Or not, but apparently it did.
Yep. Welcome, MR Silizinks. Sorry, that's going to be hard to pronounce, but welcome. I see you from Brazil.
There is a chat about having the message being song is missing required column X. I guess when we start to write the other, I guess that'll come out once we start doing the other required columns.
Yeah, I think it was more, do we say song must have but didn't, or song is missing? And I think probably is missing might even be more clear. And I was going to come back to that when we finish this.
You want to do it now?
Yeah, let's do it now.
First? Okay. What was it required?
Yeah.
Everything else good?
I think that's good. Yep.
Okay. Well, I know it's going to fail, so I'm just going to go and fix it.
What? No, we want to see it fail.
In this case?
Yeah.
Okay. Doesn't seem so, the trivial scenario.
Well, it also takes no time to run the tests.
True.
All right. Now let's fix it. Got to see it fail before we see it pass.
So there are some points where it's so trivial, it's not worth it. I kind of thought that one was in that category. It looks like you didn't.
So what's interesting is when it's really fluent to be able to run the tests without even thinking about the keystroke involved. It's a natural, like, I'm not even necessarily even thinking, oh, I need to run this. I just hit the Control R.
Right.
And so it becomes this very automatic thing where I make a change and I just hit Control R because it usually just takes no time at all. I mean, I would have been fine if we skipped it, but when you get really fluent about and it becomes automatic, then it's almost like you just do it.
So new test for another required field, that non-theme required field?
Yes. Well, let's do
song title.
So we could do song title, which would be very much exactly like this test, which means then maybe we should just parameterize this test. So the way I see it is sort of there's no failures, which is success. We've got tests for that. There's a single failure, which this test covers, right? A single missing cell. Then there's many missing cells, which is what happens if we're missing both song and artist. That's going to be a different error message that we'll need a different test for. But I think I would parameterize this one because this one will force us to generalize our code a little bit more. And then I would go to two things being blank, because then that will force us to generalize the code even more. And then go to theme because that has a fairly different
structure
way to validate it. Yeah. Yeah, and Luigi brings up a good point. Besides, don't deprive us of our dopamine hit. Also, by really getting into the habit of just constantly running the tests, you'll start to notice if it takes longer than if you start noticing how long it takes. Yeah.
Will we do a CSV source for this one? No, it's really just a
no, because it's actually the same. Oh, actually, this one, yeah, we should probably do. Yeah, we should probably do a CSV source. We might want to use the text block version of it. Yeah, I've tried Infinitest and similar. I feel like it runs the tests at the wrong time, so I'm kind of not quite prepared for it. But that's me. Anything that gets you to run tests often, I love. What are you doing?
I was going to try to do a text block. We want to do each one with a text block though, right? Let's actually just write the fields first and then convert
Okay.
it to a text block. So this one would be, sorry,
We're not changing the header. What we're changing is the song.
right. Yeah. So this will be. So is it a text block? Yeah, I guess it is.
What's that?
Sorry, I'm just talking to myself.
Oh, you misspelled Husker Du.
Husker.
There's no E at the end.
No E. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then cats. What was the syntax again? Do I have it right? Yeah. We want just the failures, so we don't want any success ones. So it'd be this, and this. Am I doing it right?
So I thought we were just going to check artist and song title because we were going to handle theme differently.
Oh, right. You're right. So it's really those two scenarios.
Right.
Did I miss anything?
Well, yeah. I mean, your CSV source is not correct because we've got the inputs, but now we need the outputs.
Oh.
And this is where text blocks gets easier.
Gotcha. Okay. So just convert this to a text block?
Yeah. So what you have to do is you have to, it's a different variable in the annotation. So instead of using curly brackets, you delete the curly brackets and you say text block equals.
Oh.
And then you just convert it to text block. So you can put triple quotes there. And then you can delete the quotes from the rest of the data. And delete the closing curly brace on 194.
Oh, I thought I got rid of it.
And then so what we want is on 191, what do we want? We just want to say artist. Right, because we want to slot in the thing that's missing. And the second one is going to be song title.
And where does the second one, is there a second parameter? Is that how it gets?
That's what we're going to do. Yeah.
So like this. So it'd be string. And I guess that would be.
We can just call it missing attribute. Or just missing. I think it'll be clear from context. Yeah, and we'll fix the test name.
Can we do %s and then format it here?
Sure. Look at that. It knew exactly what you wanted.
Woohoo.
And so let's change the test name since it was mentioned.
So will we do it plural because we're going to test multiple as we run through?
Well, each one is only referencing a single missing cell.
So yeah.
Yeah. Let's run it. It's going to be broken because our failure message is broken.
Oh, right.
Astrid's tired. All right, Astrid, have a good night.
Yeah,
Uh,
thanks for joining.
Thanks for hanging out. Get some good sleep. So we parameterize the
Test, but not the production code.
no.
No?
Why is the test broken?
Let me go look at it again.
Because both tests are broken. I would have expected if we did everything properly, one of the
Oh, one of them.
tests should be okay.
Oh, the cumulative.
So why is this failing?
Not sure yet.
Can we look at
Must have.
the test?
Yeah.
Did the delimiter break?
Meaning the /t.
No, because that's not our delimiter. Our delimiter is comma.
Right. Let me look at the other parameterized test. Well, one's using a text block and one's not. So
Yeah, so so I want us to look more closely at the test. Can we go look at the test output?
oh, the output, sure.
So why does it think the number of columns was 2? So it does look like so Suiji is suggesting that the text block is stripping the leading white space.
Oh, this one?
Yeah, so we can put that part in single quotes. No, sorry, not that. What I mean by that part is the entire up to the comma. Yeah, let's try that.
For both rows or just
Now
the
let's
first?
just see if minimal changes so we can see if that fixes that test, because that test should pass. Okay, so now we know, right? So this is why we always want to make small, tiny changes, because we want to verify, did that work? Because if it didn't work, then we would have made changes that were wasteful. So now we know that works. Just for completeness sake, we probably want to put in single quotes around that that field. So right, so we expected the first one to pass because we just replaced parameters, but it should have been a pure, in a sense, a refactoring, that one should have passed, and it didn't, but now it does. Um, that might be our quota for today, that IntelliJ is not warning us that that leading white space is going to be ignored.
Hmm.
Um, I don't think it's a text block issue, though. I think it's a CSV source issue. Um, I believe that it is, uh, in fact, it's pretty explicit that uh, except within a quoted string, and this is a bit confusing on the part of the documentation, Here, I'm gonna switch to
Share
the
your screen.
document. So right here, oops, wrong browser window. Right here, except within a quoted string, and by quoted string they mean single quoted. Leading and trailing white space in the CSV column is trimmed by default, unless you say ignore leading and trailing white space equals false. Which we could do if we wanted. So the text block is fine. The text block is actually preserving that leading tab. That's my firm belief. Now, it'd be nice if IntelliJ had an inspection for text blocks within CSV source for JUnit, but that's a separate thing. So we could, if we wanted to take out the single quotes, we could then say ignore leading and trailing white space equals false and add that in.
Does that help in making intention clearer? I guess we could try both of them out and compare.
Possibly, yeah.
See which seems like it.
Yeah, I would say let's try it.
Okay, let me get my screen clear again. Okay. Well, actually, let's test to see, make sure this passes now, right?
Well, it won't pass because we haven't generalized our code. But let's take off the single quotes on 191 and add in that option.
And
that'll be after the triple quotes. You can put a comma because it's another parameter to the annotation. And then you can say ignore, and it should auto-complete it.
If I spelled it correctly.
If you spell it correctly. Yeah, true is the default. We want false, so just select false. So now we expect it to still pass.
Should I get rid of this?
That one's failing anyway, right? So we're only checking that we changed 191.
Got it.
So expect only 2 to fail. Oh, interesting. Now I'm wondering, is the text block not preserve of leading white space? But it's supposed to, because of the indentation.
One has a space after required, the other one doesn't.
Oh, because it's not ignoring space at all. So we have a space after the comma.
But it's saying leading and trailing. They're saying
it's basically saying keep leading and trailing, which is you have to go one way or the other. So yeah, so delete that. I agree that the Suiji also says this. The flag is confusing. Whenever you have a flag where true or false and it's ignore and then it's false, what does that mean? I believe that trim would have been better. We have our issue for the day. We can file it against JUnit. All right. This is probably a good time for another break.
Oh yeah, good point.
So we've got one of these working. So now we basically have, in a sense, refactored our test to be parameterized. And now the second example, we expected it to fail because we have not generalized our failure message.
Right, now it's hard-coded for artists, right?
Right. So we'll do that when we come back from our coffee break.
Sounds good.
All right. Yeah, so I just took a note to I don't know if Janet is going to warrant changing ignore to trim, as but it's a good suggestion. Um, uh, but it is a good guideline to not use, to really try out what does it mean when a boolean is is either true or false. And this goes back to, I think I was saying this on my last stream. It's like, are you sure you want this to be a boolean in the first place? Maybe it should just be an enum, because maybe that would be a lot more clear. uh, I think it would be a lot more clear for it not to be a boolean, because if it said you know, you had an option of, you know, where it was like white space equals keep leading and trailing versus trim leading and trailing, that would be so much more clear. So it just goes to show you, just don't use booleans. They don't, you don't need them.
So do we want to? Am I muted? No, I'm not.
Yeah. Well,
Do we want to not use this ignored boolean and go back to the way you're doing it before?
I think it's a little bit easier to read, um, mainly because uh, having having no space after the comma makes it a little harder to read.
So get rid of ignore leading and trailing.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah, that's where I was heading to. Okay,
True.
so we're of this. That's very Boolean of you. Okay.
Exactly.
So I feel like we're missing something. Oh, right, it's the single quotes.
Yeah, we now need to put the single quote back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the advantage of, like, if you start out with Boolean,
You're boxed in.
you're boxed in, exactly. And why box yourself in? Like, because now if they want to say, oh, I only want leading, I want to ignore the leading white space because that's what happens with commas, right? Because we usually put a space after the comma. So I'd like to ignore the leading white space, but trim the trailing white space. Yeah. So. All right. So now we can finally address the generalization to get this test to pass.
Yeah. Where was that?
Line 38.
Ah, yeah, artist. Okay.
Hey there, Moroccan. This is my channel. You're welcome to visit. But if you want to see some C or Perl, that you're not going to see it here. This is a Java channel. Can't remember the last time I did Perl.
Been like a decade, I think, for me.
Oh,
Maybe,
that recently?
Even more. Well, actually, let me think about it. It was probably 2010. So I guess that is 14 years. Okay, so we wanted to put in the column name here. Song is missing required column name. Row contains. That should pass.
Let's see. Yeah, I think so.
No.
Right, because we have not included the error message correctly. So we have the input, we have the column name, and now we need to parameterize the basically the row columns that we actually have, which we could just take from the input, actually. That's our TSV song input.
Oh, because this is hard coded.
Yes.
That's it. Okay. Now this would include the squares. If we did %s.
Well, you want your squares because we're just going to grab the text.
Straight
Oh,
up.
well,
Oh, wait a second.
no, because we'd have to convert tabs to commas. I think we should just add another column for this part.
Ah, okay. But won't we do a two-string on it? Wouldn't it?
No, we'd have to parse it because right now it's just tab, text,
Oh,
tab, text. We'd have to do a split and then convert to the array to string. I think that's
so we're just going to
a lot of work in a test.
Yeah. So instead we're going to do something like Green Eyes is the song.
And then you need the leading.
Like that.
Yep. And you got a space at the end that you don't want. Yep. You probably want a comma before that.
You're right. Troublesome commas. Nothing then cats.
Right. Yep.
And then we've got to add it to string column.
Well, this is the row contains, so I might actually literally call it just row contains. That's in the wrong place. That needs to be inside the formatted.
Oh. Yes, you are right. Let her rip.
Yep.
Be interesting to see. No.
Oops.
Did you see it? All right. Row contains song is required. Why is it expecting? Oh, wait a second.
Can you scroll up to the CSV source?
This is the song, TSV song. That's the input here. Missing.
Oh, because it's got embedded commas, so you need to put quotes around it.
Oi.
Yeah.
These commas?
No, around the whole, around the square brackets, because are out, not double quotes, single quotes. I guess you could use double quotes since we're inside of a text block. I think the single quotes is nicer.
I agree.
There
we go. Phew.
Yep.
That's a mini slog.
All right, let's commit.
Totally.
So there's no need to escape because we're inside of a text block. We're just standardizing on single quotes just because it's easier to tell the difference. And yes, if you want to run Java applications, you could compile to native image, but if you're going to be doing development, you need a Java development kit. No different than any other language. If you want to develop Ruby, you got to have Ruby on your system. If you want to develop Python, you got to have Python in your system. So if you want to develop Java, you got to have Java on your system. Yep. Yeah, so Java, at least on the desktop, is not as popular as it used to be, but I still think it's a great way to develop cross-platform stuff.
Right.
I'm not sure what you mean by all three since we're only checking two. I think it was going to be explicit. Yeah.
Artist and song title.
Yeah.
Whoa, what happened to it? Oh, there it is.
All right.
Okay.
So let's undisable that test.
I gotta go. Here you are. Let's run it for giggles. Should fail.
Should fail because the message will be
Wrong.
I don't know what the message will be. Oh, theme 1. Okay. Is that what we want? I think maybe that's just what we want. So maybe since it is a required field, we are handling it correctly. What we wouldn't handle, and I don't know how much we care. If you have theme 1 is blank, but theme 2 has stuff in it, this will make it fail.
Yeah, I think we even decided that it had to have theme 1.
So then I think this is general enough to then cover our scenarios.
So we could just plop that in as our test.
I think we can plop it into the parameterize, and then what we want is when we want to test where multiple are missing.
Yeah.
All right, singularitarian. Have a good evening. Have a good sleep.
A good evening.
Is it hard to learn Java? No harder than any other language. It's been around for 28 years or so, so there's lots and lots and lots of good resources.
Java is easier than C++ to learn.
Yes, I will certainly grant that. Garbage collection makes life a lot easier.
Yeah. So let's see. This is such a long string. Actually, I don't need this.
Yeah. Do you want to delete that line?
That's in the way.
So that should now pass, and then we can basically
parameterize it.
Yeah, parameterize it into or move it into the parameterized test. Yep, and look at that, no disabled tests anymore.
I didn't get us to enjoy the
no
disabled tests. Yay. Sweet.
So let's move that into the.
When you say, do you want to make this a parameterized test, or are you saying just have used?
No, I'm saying add this now. Since it's testing it in the same way, let's add it to the parameterized test, and then we can delete this test.
Oh, the other one. Okay, got it.
Because I thought we might be handling the theme differently, but in this scenario, it's handled the same way.
Got it. Artist song title, theme 1. Who's could do green eyes? Got it. Now, what did it do? Was it doing a, space, then square bracket? Okay. Let's run it, see?
Yep. That's going to fail because you didn't change song title to be theme 1.
You're right.
But that's okay. I predicted that that's how it would fail. And that's how it failed.
No.
Now it should pass.
There we
Excellent.
Go. Cool. Now we can get rid of that.
Yeah, we can now get rid of the dedicated test because it's now parameterized.
I haven't done safe delete in a while. I might as well do that for fun.
Yeah, if you found a Java book and it's fairly recent, even if it's not, it'll might be something you want to do. Yeah. All right, let's commit. And then we can finally look at generalizing, or at least, well, we've already generalized the code. Now we can look at sort of refactor it.
All we did was combine
Yeah.
tests.
We basically enabled theme. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. Can we check off some?
I think we've handled everything except 110.
Right. We haven't. So that one would be, can we still parameterize that one? Yeah, I guess we can.
Depends on how we format it. If we say missing required artist, comma, theme 1, then yes, we can. Should we try it?
Sure.
Yep. And we want it to say not just theme 1, but sort of in quotes, artist, comma.
So I have to do it like this.
So that means our expectation is that it'll say song is missing required artist, comma, theme. Row contains that.
I'm not sure if the code handles that, does it?
No, it most certainly does not.
So that'll fail.
It'll fail on the artist. So the artist, it'll fail on the artist first because it presumably checks that first. Yeah. Okay. So this is the trick. And this is why we did it this way, is we actually got 2 failure messages.
Oh.
So,
which is going back to Jira, just to refresh my and everyone else's memories. We wanted one failure message for that scenario.
Right. Because we get the failures, but we get them as 2 separate failures.
Right.
This we'll have to decide, is it worth a return on investment? Because currently we're failing at the extract column level, so we have no knowledge of any other column being missing.
Right.
Which means we'd have to somehow check at a higher level, or we figure out a way to combine multiple failures into a single message, or we just say, you know what, this is good enough.
I mean, my feeling is I think it's good enough, but the test, how do we write the test to show that? That's going to be.
Well, we'd have to write a dedicated test. We can't parameterize this one.
Gotcha.
Which is kind of what I expected.
Kind of the hint. Yeah. Okay, so we take this one out.
Yep. So we might want to just clarify the test even more, the parameterized one.
Emptied.
For single empty.
Yeah.
right? So this is clarifying that this is only for single case, and then we'll write a test for multiple. All right, Suiji, good night if you're not already gone.
Good night.
I know it's late for all you UTC plus people.
Yeah. Oops. For 2 empty required cells.
So I think here we want to specify that we get 2 failure messages.
How's that? If I
Other
spelled
than,
messages
yeah,
correctly.
other than that, it's good.
I'm still not used to this pinning of the title.
You can turn
Yeah.
that off if you don't like it. I actually
Yeah.
have turned it off.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
I have found it distracting. Okay, let me turn it off.
It's really kind of interesting. It's like I like it for HTML,
Mm.
and that's about it.
Can
Because
you turn
anything
it off
else
for a
is
language?
actually I don't know.
What's it called?
Sticky?
Oh, there's a lot of stickies.
No, that's just broken.
Oh,
There we
there
go.
we go.
Its appearance. Yeah, show sticky look. Yeah, it's not per language, which is
General.
unfortunate. That's why I turned it off. It's like it was annoying enough for Java, and
You're mostly
generally,
doing Java.
and I'm
Yeah.
mostly doing Java, and so yeah. Hey, there's our quota of one. I mean, it's not a bug, but quota for one IntelliJ issue. Make sticky per language. Code style. Yeah, Java's a fine language. Curious which book you found, because some books are better than others, of course. Python is also good. I mean, if I were to sort of learn or relearn a language, I'd probably stick with either a Java or a Python or a JavaScript. Those would kind of be the languages I'd start with. All right. Yeah, and that gives us some vertical space that we're a bit lacking.
It's pretty thin there.
Okay. All right. Yeah, let's do it. Delete the empty row. 220.
I was gonna get to it, but okay.
I just didn't want to forget about it, so that's why I asked for it to do it first.
TSV. So it's funny, didn't suggest the name. Interesting. Okay. And then this would be I missed 2, so it'd just be that. So we could build this up and say, is there a count of failure messages?
You can do then failure messages has size.
Ah.
And then you could comment out the rest for now. Yeah.
Yeah. Because this will still fail.
Will it fail?
Will it?
No, this will pass because this is what it's currently doing.
Oh,
and
right.
now we're just specifying that that's what it's doing.
Well, if it doesn't pass, then we wrote the test wrong.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm not I'm not familiar with this book. This book is a textbook, which I tend to believe is not as good as other books. But I think pretty much it's less important about the book and more important that you just write code. That's what I always say. Is like you learn by writing code, not by reading, not by watching, but by writing code. Java certifications are not really necessary. Like most certifications, they don't really. Most places don't really pay attention to them, but that's not to say no places ever pay attention to them. But I'm not sure they give you much of a leg up. It's really much more important that you learn it. The reason why is because the certifications, and I am certified, except I'm certified on Java like 1.1. Um, is they test a lot of obscure, nuanced stuff that is really not relevant. So I think it's much more valuable to spend your time learning the language, learning a bit about data structures and algorithms, and just writing code, working on a project, building it out, something that you use or somebody close to you uses, and that's what you want. You can start out by just creating a to-do list, creating some other small, tiny project, and build it over time, but write code. You probably will find pretty reasonable help on the Reddit, the subreddit for Learn Java. Most people there recommend there's an online course, a free online course, and so there's some good references there. So that's a good community to hang out with. All right.
So I turned it into a characterization test.
Yep.
Ran it, saw
Yep.
the new text in my buffer.
Yep.
So now should pass.
Yep. And it's exactly in that order. So yep. Excellent.
Sweet. Now we've tested all scenarios of required cells.
Yes. Now we can check that one off in Jira.
Oh yeah, let's go do that.
Or we can explicitly say we're not doing that.
Oh right, we should probably
document that we're not that
yeah.
we did all the others, but we're not trying to collapse that into. Yep. All right. Excellent.
Now we can commit. Tested all completed testing all required cell scenarios. That's sort of like saying the entire thing, or should we say this one is dealing with 2 missing?
I think this one deals with 2 missing because that's the only thing that we changed.
Okay, so we could just leave the second sentence to sort of.
Yeah, we can then say this completed. Yeah, we can then say this completed. Yeah. Yep.
Cool.
Awesome. All right. So what's next? Do we want to try running the application? Because we've got three tests failing, which means we probably have some adapter level stuff that is failing.
Oh,
right,
non-IO.
Yeah. So basically, let's run all the tests and see what's failing. All right, then, Moroccan. Thanks. Come back anytime.
Take care.
So let's see. So failed to load application context. So that's not surprising. So what's exactly failing there? Let's scroll down to that. So song importer, error creating bean, song service. Right. We don't have a song JDBC repository available. So let's go into our configuration.
Excuse me, I was froggy there. Was it that configuration? Or
No, it might be in our startup, which we probably want to move. Yeah, so right there, it's expecting song JDBC repository to be injected, and we don't have one. So we want to jump to that. That's interesting.
the fact that it's an interface?
Do you have Docker running?
Oh shoot. Nope. I thought I had that on my to-do list. Let me go check.
Yeah, clearly you either missed the checkbox or it's not
Nope.
on the checklist.
No, it was the last thing, and it was so my checklist fit in the window.
Oh no.
If I scroll up, it's the one line not visible.
Of
I'm
course.
changing the size of that window for the future. So there we go. That won't happen next time. Okay, so rerun the tests. That's pretty funny.
There it goes. So looks like something else is wrong.
Something else. Yeah.
So let's scroll down. Let's can you turn off the wrapping on the right? In the right toolbar?
Mhm.
Yeah, undo that.
Go to the bottom.
Yeah, let's go down a bit more. Because what we're looking for, what I do is when I'm scanning Spring errors like this, I stop at each caused by.
Okay, let me go back to the top. Here's the first caused by. Error creating bean with name.
So you might want to scroll that. So there's a scroll bar at the bottom.
There. Oh, it's so.
Yeah. So that's saying song importer, it can't create song service. So then let's go down to the next cause by where it probably says I can't create song service. Yep. So error creating song service. Is there another cause by? That's the one we want to look at. So it's saying it can't find a song JDBC repository.
That was an interface, right?
So surprised that it couldn't pick that up. Why couldn't it pick that up? Is that the last cause by? Is there anything below that?
Nope.
Why is it not finding that? I mean,
should it be? Is it getting the attribute from list CRUD repository?
Well, that's what I thought. I thought it would. Oh no, it's explicitly marked as no repository bean.
Yeah, I just found that too.
Oh, interesting. Okay. And All right, well then let's mark it as a repository. So to use the @repository annotation.
Now we're in the adapter
Mm-hmm.
outbound. So it's
Mm-hmm.
outside the hexagon, so it's okay to use.
It's an adapter, so we're fine. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
we're literally using list CRUD repository, so adding the annotation is totally fine.
Got it. Yeah. Look, I could have just hovered here, and it says no repository bean.
Yeah.
Rerun. Or is there
Is it warning about the @repository? I'm just wondering why it's colored differently. Do you have repository highlighted? Is that why it's colored? Oh, okay. Sorry, I was getting confused as to why it was. So you have auto highlight, which I tend to turn off.
Oh,
Right, so you're on that thing and it highlights it, and I thought that was actually a warning. But it's not.
Got it.
That's why I turned that off, because I find that confusing.
Let it rip.
Yes.
Hmm. Error creating song importer.
Yeah, that's the same thing we had before.
And then we go down and it's song service. And then we go to
I don't understand why it's not.
it's saying no such bean. So I don't know if Spring that well, but this is still a repository. Who's
No,
creating
so
the concrete?
my mistake. The tests are failing differently now. If we actually ran the application, it would work. So thank you, Sweegie. The Spring data doesn't get loaded, and this is a configuration issue that we'll have to fix. So let's look at the failing tests again.
Back to the top.
So these two are failing in the MVC. So these are all MVC tests are failing. So let's so we can fix this, because in these do we care? I don't think we care. So we can close the test window now and go to our MVC tests. And so this is sort of my fault for letting us have those tests fail for so long, because then it means we're not keeping everything up to date. So what we want to do here is, I think we can just do a mock bean for the repository, and that'll be fine. So on 21.5 or 22, do @mock bean. And then we're going to declare what's missing, which is the song JDBC repository. And then any variable will do. So let's run just this test class. Yeah, I'm fine with doing mock bean to just say, here you go. We don't use it. There's other ways to do it. We can, in fact, I was going to suggest that we do that. But let's fix all the tests and then we'll do it. So let's pretty much copy this to the other MVC test. And now we can run all the tests and they should all pass. Excellent.
Cool. Should we commit?
Actually,
wait a second. Do we still need that? This here.
yeah, I guess we don't.
We could delete it and then try it, run the test again.
Yeah. Yeah, as long as we're not mocking, as long as we're not making these things a stub by saying when it's called return X. As long as we're basically doing it to say, look, you need this thing. It could be a null object implementation, rather than hand coding it, which we could. We're just going to let it create the mock bean. So as long as we're not actually referencing contents of the repository in our test, I'm fine with just using mock bean. That's probably the only place I use it anywhere. And yeah, the test is already a little slow, so another couple of seconds for Mockito to do its thing is not going to make much of a difference. All right, we've proven that it was not repository, so let's commit.
Fixed long broken IO tests.
I'd be more precise and say the MVC test. Yeah. Before you commit, can you hit the gear in the lower right of that dialog? Yeah. So we got optimized imports on. I was just checking.
And then
it'll remove the unused import automatically.
Got it. Good?
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Now we can run the application.
Oh, is it running yet?
Seems like it's trying to run all tests.
Tests? That's weird.
Oh, because it was
because it committed.
Yeah, we committed, so it was running the tests.
2 ignored tests. Oh, they must be. So maybe it might take a running the application.
There we go.
Didn't take.
There it goes. Oh, we are on only Java 1. We should get to Java 21. We should get to Java 22. We should do that.
Oh, that's something in chat. Let me.
No, I was just seeing when you started running the app, it was Java 21 that was your JVM.
Oh, yeah, we can. So we want just the straight up app, not the song import.
Right. Yeah, that's a good question, Jonas. I'm not sure if after it optimized it, there were no changes. It should not have committed it. That's interesting. We'd have to look at the commit history.
Do you want to do that? Or?
Yeah, let's take a quick look. What is it, Alt-9? Yeah. So you want to look at the local main? And then look at that and see what did it actually commit. So that was a bug. It lied.
Oh, but you know what I think it was doing? We had changed and then changed back. song JDBC repository.java.
Yeah, no, I know that. And when it optimizes the import, it basically now was not something that it would commit, except it said committed 3 files.
Oh,
So it lied. There's
got it.
our bug report for today. I don't know. I'm not going to file that one. I got so many other. Maybe I'll file that one. So if you have optimize imports as a pre-step before it does the commit, it gets confused. All right.
I just ran the theme search.
Yep. So that works.
Yeah.
What I actually wanted to test was the bulk import, because that's what we've made some major changes to, mainly to trigger some bad imports. So I think it's just song import. Yeah.
I was looking for the word bulk. I'm like, oh, I got to go to the login. I'll be back. There it is.
Oh wow, I've just been threatened here.
What?
I'll look through the I'll see how easy it is to recreate. You could save up and there's a longer dark mode. I don't know if I give you a discount for the longer one. Let me go see. I know I had the really long one, which I turned off because I'm like, no. I think you get essentially a discount for the dark mode for 25 minutes. I'd have to go look at the actual settings for that. I have the 90-minute dark mode, but I have that one disabled. I think only Wheatlaw has enough points for that one. So let's import something with some bad data.
Okay.
With multiple, like, let's start with like a missing column.
Right. We'll start with missing column. So I'll just
Yeah.
grab something that does not include themes.
Yep.
Oh no, I need the header row.
Well, you could do that and see what happens.
Sure.
Let's just try it. Awesome. So now the header is missing. Boom. That's what we want. That's great. It's only one error instead of an error on every single line. So that's good.
Right. Yeah. Now here it is with the header row.
So the header, so still just checking the header first. And so now if you tack on into the input, if you put a tab and then theme 1, I have to copy and paste the tab and then say theme 1. Now it's going to give us errors, failure messages for each row because it's now missing that cell, but that's fine. Oh, so this is different. So this is saying that we still only have 3 columns. So let's add some spaces to some of those rows. So basically a tab at the end with nothing.
Okay. I think it's still in my buffer.
Probably. Yep.
Yeah.
I should add it to a couple of different ones, and then we can.
Wait a second. What's the YouTube? That must be a right. That's a I was gonna take that one out. There.
All right. Yep. And so now we get different failure messages. Yep. Excellent.
Well, the blank isn't gonna. Yeah, this isn't gonna help because it's just gonna be blank.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's basically the same. It's basically ignoring the empty column, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Now let's do we have some data that we want to add? That's actually valid.
Yeah, what do we? I don't even know what we have in there. That'll be interesting. I guess I have to go from the bottom of my list to make sure we don't duplicate.
Well, I mean, we could reset the database and we could not worry about this. Is your local
Yeah, that's
developer
true.
database, so I'm not too worried.
Okay, let me get something.
But it does mean that we might want to think about what happens if you import duplicates.
Right. We should add that to our Jira before we forget.
Yes.
Let me go grab some data. Oh, but actually I need to have the header. Oh, I know what I can do. I can filter on a couple of themes. Okay.
Jonas, I think you probably mean I need to stream more in your at a time amenable to your time zone, because I'm streaming quite a bit. All right.
Okay, new data. Import.
Excellent. And this was the issue that we have in our Jira, which is maybe we should redirect you to something that's more useful.
Right. And surprisingly, it's the next thing on our list.
And it's the next thing on the list.
And we did add coffee, was one of the songs themes we had. So we could go.
So we do have a form for that, right? So you can just go to theme search without the question mark, right? Because we do have a.
I forgot we did that.
I just want to make sure that that's still there.
Now let's.
Yep.
There we go. We'll do coffee again.
Excellent.
Cats.
Oh.
Ooh, there's a duplicate.
Yep. All right.
Cool.
Now, would that come up if you look for cigar?
I think we're yeah, I'm not sure.
No, we check for ignoring case, but we don't look for in substrings. So that's
right. Good. Yeah, we're not looking for substrings.
Yeah.
And we're not dealing with plurality.
Well, we're not doing anything. We're basically like,
right.
if it's entered as cigarettes and you enter cigarette singular, it's not going to find it.
But if I may segue into this, if I can get my mouse control back. That's weird. Okay. Yeah, so now I know the problem. My wireless mouse seems to not always behave. The wired mouse seems to always work whenever I have that problem, which I think is mostly happened off screen, but Ted's well aware of it because whenever we're doing stuff together. Let me drag this over. So my speaking of sub searches, what I would love for it to ultimately be is to kind of this style of a box, kind of like for tags. So like you look for, this was just provinces, but that start with the letter C. CO.
Right. So we've talked about this before. This requires you to have a known list of themes.
Yes.
Which we could extract and just get the distinct ones that are currently in the database.
Yep.
So we could do that.
This particular example is not as good as I like because it's got this extra.
Yeah, this is one of those cases where it's like you're doing too much in the example. I don't want that.
Yeah.
If you, but basically what you want is.
Do you know another?
Yeah. So the shoelace one, which is the one that I use, shows this. So I can share my screen, or you can just go to shoelace.style. And if you do a search for multiple, select, and then on the right side, you'll see multiple in the under disabled. Next one down.
Oh, under it.
Yeah. And so that one has where you see option 1, option 2, option 3. So you can start.
Oh, cool.
So this one
Does
is sort of multiple select check box, as it were. But there are
Right.
versions that basically it has all the sort of the things you want, which is sort of multiple selections, but then with autocomplete.
Yeah, the one that I thought this was the one, but as you type, so like if this was, there's only one state that starts with CAL, so
Right.
it reduces the list.
Right.
Whereas this one, it shows all the options, even though these 3 have been selected already.
Yeah, there's a version of it.
That you know of from another.
Thought this one had it here. I'll have to find it. But there's
Yeah.
basically this project has sort of is one of the most popular ones. In fact, they just finished a Kickstarter where they raised a whole bunch of money to basically add functionality and add features to that. So
Oh, cool.
and this is the one that I'm pretty much have decided to use with my applications, as well as with, although I won't need it very much, but for my TDD game.
Cool. Yeah,
but
I just stumbled across this one.
Yeah,
The example's a bit chatty.
Bit wonky, yeah.
Yeah. But I do like the visual of it. So yeah, but that's not here now. I think, should we put that? We probably should add it to the Jira though.
Yeah. So if we want
Okay.
that functionality where you can basically the themes you're searching for are autocomplete on themes. That would be a feature, and that's where we would probably start pulling in HTMX.
Right. I'm just going to put it here for now, but autocomplete for themes. But where we do it is probably the sequence doesn't matter at the moment. Probably definitely after this. This we should definitely do next.
Yeah.
Which we can do now. Maybe take a break if you want.
Yeah, let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll do that, because it would be nice to have, here's how many songs you imported, and something other than coming soon. So yeah, that would be useful. Yeah. All right, so we'll take a break, and then when we come back, we'll do that.
Awesome.
So as a reminder, I have a Discord where you can come and join and discuss things that we do on stream, things related to the things we do on stream, such as Java, design, testing, test-driven development, all those kinds of things. So you can join the Discord. You go to ted.dev/discord. You'll find an invite link and you'll join up with Discord. And that will give you access to a whole bunch of different channels. Recommend that you look at them, skim through things, see what people are talking about, ask questions, post code if you need help, things like that. Lots of folks, including me, will be around to discuss whatever you want to discuss. And as I mentioned before, we have a weekly book club, and we're about to select the next book, so you can be part of that selection process. If nothing else, you can vote on the book that we will start reading. So we're about to finish. The next few weeks, we'll finish up our current book, The Programmer's Brain, and then we will vote and start on our next book. Something that I'll be putting into the Discord after we're done with the stream is a little bit of guidance of kind of what kind of books work really well in a book club like this. So they tend to be not very specific around like a framework. So it wouldn't be something Spring specific or Angular specific or anything like that. Because we want to, even though I'm generally a Java guy, I do want to. We have a bunch of folks who are C# and PHP and other languages, and I want to make sure that, as much as possible, the concepts, the topic of the book covers at least the majority of those languages. So in the past, we've done domain-driven design. I think we probably won't do another domain-driven design book for quite some time because we've done enough of those. But those kinds of are more sort of not just about specific code, but how to organize code and how to sort of some philosophy around that. And some of the books we're looking at for next time are sort of at that level, something either about testing in general or about how we think about designing software. Those are kind of the level of books that will likely be ones that we select. All right.
I was just scanning what we had above where we were that was not completed. And well, that's me adding songs. Actually, I do have Tab Shifter installed. I just haven't played with it yet. So like, check that off. Yes.
The next step should be learn to use Tab
Learn to
Shifter.
use it. Learn to use. Actually, I tried some of the things and it wasn't like it. The manual gave different instructions that were.
I would not read the documentation. I would read I would look at the menu because the keystrokes are wrong
Okay.
for Windows, ironically enough, because they're expressed as Windows shortcut keys, but they're not correct.
Got it. Right. These are the two things left in the category way up here of adding songs via bulk import. If it's a comp, then release title becomes required. Create result combinator to help refactor the huge parse song method.
Yeah, we've deferred a bit of our refactoring.
Yeah.
I think we can defer some of that till next time.
Yeah, sure. I was just curious what was
up. No, it's good to scan and see what we've missed.
So we're going to tackle 113?
I think we should.
Jira 113.
I think we should. Yes, I think Jira 113 is a good next candidate.
Cool.
So where would we like it to go after we import? Do we want it to go back to the same page?
I would think so.
And just have like a flash message, a message that shows up saying import successful.
Yeah, or you're imported. What does it look like right now? I mean, it could even go back to this and then underneath import have
Mhm.
successfully imported 25 songs or whatever.
Sure.
Then you get some visual feedback like, wait, I thought I pasted it in 30,
Right.
you know, whatever. Or do you think there's value in showing what was imported, but not in this box, but as a
I kind of
read only
would kind of like that. Yeah, that basically goes to
in
another
columnar form?
page. Yeah, that basically shows literally what you imported that it processed and
That's easier to read because right
yeah.
now, when you dump in something like this, as if I had it selected, which I clearly didn't. What's going on here? Uh-oh. Oh, I see what happened. There we go. That's not so readable,
Yeah.
you know, because when you're, but to have it then present, that'd be cool. That's
Mhm.
probably, oh, well, not probably, it is a larger task.
Mhm.
So we could, um,
Yeah, I think the way I see this is a feature and we can slice it up into a couple of pieces.
yeah,
So I think we should redirect to another page, and initially just say success,
okay,
and then add on to that success page, here's how many songs were imported, and then add on to that, here are actually the songs that were imported.
right. So actually, want to, actually, this is like worded kind of janky.
Why don't we just, yeah, describe the whole feature, and then we can break it down into the slices.
Yeah. So I'll import success user feedback. Actually, this could be,
Yeah, and I'd split that into two.
yeah. It's actually not current where we don't really care where it currently goes to. We want to say redirect to bulk import success page. That's what
Yeah.
you were saying was the first step,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And the second step would be, would we also include just success or include the number of songs?
No, that would
Small
be too
slice.
big of a slice. Small
Okay.
steps.
So,
So we can say, just show number of songs imported.
yeah. And then,
And what you've got on 118, just pull it up.
yeah. And I guess it makes sense to do that before the autocomplete, as much as it would be fun to get the autocomplete, but really having the bulk import so that I can have data and then having autocomplete working, then we can go, I feel at that point, we can go from coming soon to
Mhm.
something.
Mhm.
Because I feel like that's sort of the minimum
Right.
is me having a bunch of real data there.
Mhm.
This might be a nice to have. Could be.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think we can do 114 and 115, and then jump to autocomplete. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Shall
All
we
right.
dive in?
Yep. So Probably want to look at our
Oh, right. How are we?
in web stuff. So song importer.
Excuse me.
Right. So what we want to do is look for a test where we're calling this. Whichever one is checking for the redirect, that's what we want. So we want one where it's successful.
Do we have one? Well, this one's success.
Yeah.
But we're not checking the redirect.
Right. Do we have
that's
anywhere where we're
no.
checking? That's failure. What's the next one? That's failure. Yeah. Okay. So we can go and add it to the successful one.
Which was this one.
Yep. Probably want to grab the return value first.
Oh, the redirect page. Is that what you mean?
No, I mean, you need to assign it to a variable on line 35.
Yeah, that's right. Oh.
And that's redirect page.
Oh, okay, right. I did put it in my buffer for a reason. I was like, wait a second. Okay. So now here we can say that.
Yep.
Actually, I'll just. I don't know why I did that. That was unnecessary. What do we want to call it?
Well, let's have it pass.
Right now it does this.
Yeah. So we'll confirm this is the behavior that it currently does, and then we'll change the behavior.
Do the whole thing or just this one?
Well, this is an IO free test, so
just run them all.
Do them all. There is no time difference.
Unless you're in Europe. And you're in a different time zone. Sorry. I need my little rim shot button. It passed, by the way.
Yes, I saw.
So now we want it to redirect to, what do we want to call the new one?
Song import success.
Results. Well, do we want the success and the failure pages to be the same?
Well, right now the failures is a very specific scenario where we show the messages, but we put you back where you can change it. So that's right. I don't think we want to change that. I think what we want is now a new page.
Now it's interesting. We're calling it. I don't know if I muted there for a second. Sometimes if I take the headset off, I mute.
Oh, you're fine.
Did you hear me mid-sentence at all?
No.
Okay.
You're fine.
If I do this, can you still hear me?
Yes.
But if I do this, you can't, right?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, you sound further away, but I could hear you.
Interesting. This headphone used to have this thing when you take it off, it automatically muted. Oh.
But it won't automatically mute on here? I don't know.
Oh, it could be. That's true. It might just be for Zoom. Okay. So I'm actually wondering about this name. Because we call it song import, but it's actually bulk song import.
Mm-hmm.
If we ever get to the point where we're, I don't know if we'll ever have a single import page.
Yeah, to me that's sort of an oxymoron of single import. The whole idea of import is it's multiple. And bulk.
And it's probably good to clarify it's song import because we might import other things someday.
Yeah.
So while a bit verbose, this is probably okay.
I think that's fine.
Okay.
So if we run it, we expect it to fail, obviously.
Totally.
Yep.
Okay.
And that's easy enough to fix.
success. Run the test again.
All right, and that should pass. All right. We can so we've got the redirect part, and now we need an endpoint for that new URL.
Right. I always forget where we put the endpoints.
So it's song import MVC test there under InWeb.
There we go.
But you want to probably have the test on top.
Oh, whoops. Oh, I've got several that landed down below somehow. This is the one we care about. We could probably get rid of the themes.
Yeah.
One. So what we got here?
You're in the wrong test. You want to be in the
This one.
That one.
Get to song import. Is it just me, or is that a horrible name for a test? Get to.
I'm open to suggestions, but that's what we're
it's
doing. We're
because
doing
it's a get. Oh, it's a get.
It's a
Yeah,
HTTP GET request.
Right. Do you think? Well, what do you think about requests?
That's fine.
But then to is weird. Get request to.
As opposed to from,
or
because it's a request
from.
the way I say it is you make an HTTP GET request to an endpoint, and so
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
I don't know that I say you make a GET request from an endpoint. That sounds weird to me. I mean, maybe people say that, but not me. I might say I get, like, I make a request to something and I get data from something. I wouldn't make a request from something that to me just is something else.
You just sold me on it. Okay, so
Well, if you're going to change that, you got to change the next one to be post request.
Yeah.
All right, and so what's our next test?
Yeah, what is the next test? We wanted to. Oh, we're on test failure mode. Got it.
Yes, we're in we're in new behavior.
Yep. Do we?
It's not a post. Well, it's not a post request, right? Because we did a redirect, so redirect will cause a get to happen.
Oh.
So what are we doing a get request against? What did we say that?
Oh, the what's it called again? Song import success.
Mm-hmm.
Endpoint. I think I spelled success wrong. This would return 200 as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
At this level of test, that's all we care about.
Right.
You could let the autocomplete do the work for you. See what it says. So if you backspace up one.
Backspace up one. Here.
And then hit enter. Yeah.
Oh, yep. I see.
So it'll only trigger the completion if you've just started a new line. So that's close. So you could tab it and then we can fix it. And if you hit, and whoops, if you want to let
Again.
the autocomplete, then you gotta wait like half a second for it to do it. Because as
And then,
far as I know, there's no way to say, please try and autocomplete it with the full line autocompletion. Yep, and that's what we want.
so we run this. This should actually MVC test.
Hmm.
We'll need to run all, or just run this particular class.
I would just run this particular class.
Control Shift F10. Now I know.
Yeah, that runs context. So whatever test. If you're inside a test, it will run just that test. If you're outside of a test but inside a test class, it will run all the tests in that class.
Okay.
So as
failed.
expected, we got a 404.
Yep.
So it didn't just fail, but failed for the right reason with a 404. And now we make it pass.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Wait a second.
So you want another get mapping.
I think the 4th hour is starting to have its effect. I'm a little bit slower.
Yeah, that tab looks fine.
Sure, why not? And yes. Is that right?
Well, it is correct, except it won't pass because TimeLeaf will complain that it can't find a template of that name. But that's fine. We're gonna
Oh,
go
because
from a 404 to a 500 error because of TimeLeaf. But that means at least we've done our get mapping correct.
I always forget about the time leaf stuff.
Yeah. So now we got error resolving template. So that's good. So that's a different failure. So now we're making correct progress. And you're going to want to look not in the test stuff. So the stuff that has the green background, that's your test stuff.
Yeah, I knew that. I was just.
Yep.
There it is. Okay. So templates.
Yep. I might just take that and copy it and then delete stuff.
Can you just do
you can do F5 to copy the class.
Oh.
Or you could do that.
Oh, looks like it's the same. They both bring you to the same dialog, it looks like.
Yeah, because F5 is a refactoring and happens to work on at the file level.
Right. I mean, because I was doing a Control-C, Control-V.
Yeah, that ends up doing a copy. So yeah, so it does call the same thing, but F5 is one
cleaner,
less
keystrokes.
Only one keystroke. Yep.
Yep.
And it's a generalizable keystroke because you can be inside of an actual Java class and hit F5, and it will refactor duplicate that class.
Okay, so we'll change the title to include the word success.
Yeah, we can delete the form.
We don't want failure messages either.
Right. We probably want, I don't think they're going to be multiple messages, right? So we can just put a P and have it be success message.
So as a time leaf thing or just type?
Yeah, as a time leaf thing.
Okay.
Because it's going to come from time leaf.
Oh.
Right, because it's going to be dynamic. We don't know what the message is going to be. So we don't need the each to pull out the whole each.
Got it.
So Control W is your friend.
Oh, yeah. So
And
this
we can
would
change
be,
message to success message, even though there's context. It's probably better to be more specific. We might want to change the word failure to success. And there's a style there that's probably not what we want for a success, so we can probably just delete that. Yep, that's it.
so now we have to populate success message.
Well, before we do that, we need to make sure that this works as a template, and we're missing something from line 2.5.
Oh, whoa.
So hit enter, and we want to probably copy that. So somehow that got dropped when we copied. It's basically the oh, that's interesting. It's not here either. That's not good. What we're missing is, yeah, that line 3. So let's add that in to both missing places.
Yep.
It doesn't really cause a problem, but at least it tells, at least if nobody else, it tells IntelliJ what the heck does this th mean.
Preview,
So,
do anything with time leaf or did it choke?
yeah, we can preview it and it'll be a fairly boring page,
Yep.
but it says what we want it to say. So now if we run our tests, what do we expect to happen?
Now it should pass. Well, no, it should barf on not knowing what success message is. This here.
No.
Because this was just the default. Oh, is this shows this if this is doesn't exist?
Oh, you may be right. Yeah. Yeah.
Not sure. I'm just gonna run it. We'll see what it says. Oh, they all passed. Oh, I didn't run all tests. Did you want all?
Oh, no, this is the only ones we're working on, and it failed
Yeah.
before and now it passes. Um, so I don't believe that it's a requirement to have anything in the model, at least not for the GET request. So yeah, so we're fine. And now we can drop down to the next layer. We probably want to do a commit, and maybe we want to end here.
Or maybe drop down. I want to see what you were going to say there.
All right. Yep.
And then you were going to say go down a level in which
Yeah,
layer?
so if we go to why does it look like something's still running? Oh, because it's now just started running all the tests. Okay.
Because we did a commit. Yep.
So yeah, so let's go down to the
Oh, there is a cannot resolve success message over here.
Yeah.
So you're saying go down to,
yeah, that's basically because you have success message highlighted in the current file.
I see. Got it.
So if we go to song importer test, right? So the test, the IO free test, or at least the lack of framework test, we can now start testing against this new page. So this would be a new page that success page does whatever. So this will force us to create a model as a parameter, and then fill in, and we'll test that the model is filled in properly. We probably
And
have a,
from that, we would pull the success message.
and then from that, from the model, we'd assert that the success message is whatever we expect it to be. So why don't we go to Jira and make sure that we mark that as the next thing that we're going to do. So we do redirect properly. I think we are working on 116. So the next step to do that will be to write a test for
I see,
that.
got it. Oh, so that was just the goal here was just to check off 114.
Yeah, I would say maybe
Okay.
Failing test from here. So so on 115, just say failing test.
Like that?
Yeah. And maybe leave a slightly better breadcrumb of that test will be in song importer test. And that's it. That leaves us set up for next time. So next time we'll basically write that failing test. So we'll test that it puts the right message in the model, which means we'll have to, as part of our setup, do a successful bulk import. So that might be a little that won't be straightforward, because we'll have to
Simulate.
we may not actually be able to write this as a framework free test, because this is again sort of the redirect attributes.
Right.
So we'll have to see. You might want to put a comment at the end saying will be in song importer test or might require a framework test for redirect attributes. It's really an interesting sort of general question, because and this goes back to sort of command query separation. By returning information from a command, right? So basically doing a post that redirects, and the information that's the result of that import is carried only that one time, and then it's lost. Means that if you did the post and the internet hiccuped, you'd never see that result, and there would be no way to get that. So we'll have some things to discuss next time about design. The easy way is to do that, and then okay, oh well, you know, you refresh the page and you don't see anything. Or we basically return information about the last bulk import and assume it was you. But we'll discuss that next time.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
We've only implemented the database on locally. We did not do it in production yet.
Correct.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when we go to production, that's the first thing we'll have to do is configure the database and configure some settings, and then but then we should just be able to push it, and it should just work. All right.
Cool.
Well, that's it, folks. Thanks again for hanging out, for participating, for asking questions. Always enjoy that.
Yes.
And whenever our pairing stream is next, we'll let you know. So as always, the best way to find out, don't rely on Twitch notifications, don't rely on YouTube notifications. Although if you subscribe or follow, that's very much appreciated, of course. Best way is to not that one, join the Discord, go to the roles channel, and click on the code stream alerts, and then you will get and then make sure your Discord notifications are set up, because if it notifies and you never receive it, well, did you really get it? So that's it. So we will see you next time. I will definitely be solo streaming next week. Mike and I will figure out when we'll pair again, and I'll announce that in advance. So until then, have a great rest of your day and weekend.